If you don't ask the questions of what you want to do next, the world is going to put you in the box on what you have to do next, because they're determining who you need to be. And you are rising up to their expectations because you're not asking the questions yourself. So clarity to me is stemmed from you being able to sit down and ask those tough questions that piss you off, that irritate you, that make you emotional, that you cry over, that you reflect, that makes you want to do research, that makes you follow up, that makes you sit down and say, I don't really know. I've never thought about this before. And that goes deeper and deeper and deeper. Everybody indirectly will impose their belief system into you. And it's never gonna stop. You know this whole thing about people say, oh my gosh, I can't wait to win to shut up all my haters. Reality check, it ain't never happening, okay? It ain't never happening, because every time you come up, it's just more of them, right? And they're always, the great thing about haters is haters highlight your weaknesses.
If you did what you believed was best at the time, hindsight's a bitch, right? If you did what you believed was best at the time, then what are you mad for? Every mistake I made in my life, at the time I thought I was doing the right thing. So I'm not gonna be mad at past me. And every single bad thing that's happened to me, every single piece of trauma that's happened in my life has led me here. So if you're happy with where you are currently, then you have to be happy for every bad thing that's ever happened to you. Genuinely, right? If you look at your life now and go, I'm quite happy with where I am, then you have to be happy with every single shit day you've had, because you wouldn't end up here any other way. You know, I wouldn't have grown as a man if my father didn't die. You learn a lot about yourself as a man when your father dies. So,
say controlling the narrative to me is he's written the story for his life. You know, Winston Churchill said many years ago, history will be kind to me for I intend to write it. I think Arnold wrote his history. This is what I'm going to be doing. You know, I'm going to come here, I'm going to compete, I'm going to win, I'm going to go into Hollywood. I have an accent, with or without it, I'm still going to go into Hollywood. I'm going to marry a Kennedy, I'm going to go and be a governor, and I'm going to do what I want to do in my life. He was an example of this is possible. And the whole purpose is sitting down and asking the questions. What if I get asked a question that I don't have the answer to? One of the scariest things about life is a question. The scary question can shake a soul up because no one's asked that question from you. So for me, the transition for somebody to want to change it and get clarity is actually asking questions. If you don't ask the questions of what you want to do next, the world is going to put you in the box on what you have to do next, because they're determining who you need to be. And you are rising up to their expectations because you're not asking the questions yourself. So clarity to me is stemmed from you being able to sit down and ask those tough questions that piss you off, that irritate you, that make you emotional, that you cry over, that you reflect, that makes you want to do research, that makes you follow up, that makes you sit down and say, I don't really know. I've never thought about this before. And that goes deeper and deeper and deeper.
this is how life works, right? If you even, let's take cars, you're driving at 200 miles an hour, you don't feel it. It's accelerating to 200 miles an hour that you feel. You don't feel once you're doing the speed, you feel the acceleration. It's the acceleration that's exciting. You need to feel the change in your life to benefit from it. If you're born, I think the most miserable people on earth are those people who are born filthy rich. Imagine being born as an oil sheik. Money has no value. A Ferrari, you think it's gonna make you happy? Has no value. Nothing has value. Everything is just whatever. Girl.
That's not parents, that's life experiences that causes that. A heartbreak, a breakup, parents getting a divorce, a fight, getting bullied, being knocked out publicly in front of your peers, humiliated, a girl breaks up with you in front of your peers, leaves you for your friend. All of these things then make you because of those experiences. Now, when that happens, it's like a formula. You are gonna do one of three things. You know the whole flight, freeze, or fight. You're either gonna freeze and you're gonna suppress and keep it internally and eventually you're gonna implode, and when you implode, you're gonna hurt a lot of people. Or you're going to flight and you'll avoid that person every time you're running around them. Oh my gosh, she's here, I'm gonna go in this room, I'm gonna avoid her, I'm gonna avoid her, I'm gonna avoid her. Or you're gonna fight, right? Now you know what freeze happens, nothing happens. Flight, nothing's happening. But fight, that part is born during those moments. And so you figure that part of what the person's made up of. You can't teach that part to somebody. You can't say, somebody could encourage you and somebody could say, hey Patrick, stand up for yourself. Yeah, but you could say that to me when people are around, but what if no one's around? Most of the time, no one is around. You have to learn to stand up for yourself. So
you have to be broke to appreciate being rich. You need that. So anyone who's sitting there going, oh, I want money, good. You need to feel how you feel now. Being poor is what's going to make you happy once you have money. This is a very key element to it. But I think it's the journey, not the destination, right? I can never be depressed if I never slow down. Speed is extremely important. Speed defies gravity. How does a plane fly through the air and defy gravity? Speed. It's moving too fast to fall. If you're always attacking life, if you're always doing things, if you're always making more money, if you're always traveling the world, doing this, doing that, new car, here, there, new podcast, meeting James English, boom, boom, boom. If you're always doing things all the time, unhappiness can't catch you.
And we don't spend enough time with why to. Why to is linked to identity. How to is systems, learning. It's a skill set. Anybody can pick that up. So identity is you asking the questions until eventually you get to a point that you get to the deeper part of who do you want to be, what life do you want to live, and why do you want to live this life? Why is it important to you? Why is it what you're putting through all these hours? Why would you want to do that? That transition when you go through it, and then the pressure part when you said, here's who I'm going to be, where you declare your intentions to the world. This is what I'm going to be doing. A lot of times we keep things a secret. And so there's a debate. Some say you should never declare your intentions to the world because that pressure could create anxiety. You should never do it. Like Babe Ruth pointed a finger and I'm going to hit a home run. What if you don't hit it? What if you fail? What if you say, Michael Jordan says, the Bulls never losing game 7. You should never say that because there's too much pressure on the players. Or then the other side said, well, you should put the pressure on yourself because your teammates play better because it's not on them, it's on you. And the leader does that. To me, I think declaring intention serves a purpose. I think when you go out there and you say, this is what I'm going to be doing, this is where I'm going to be at, you officially have the world holding you accountable. That pressure could be good pressure to put into your life. We hear the phrase peer pressure, and we always get the negative connotation with peer pressure, right? It's like, hey, don't do drugs because of peer pressure. Say no to drugs, peer pressure. Go to school, peer pressure, peer pressure. Where, it all depends who the peer is that's giving you pressure, because if you got the right peer giving you the right kind of pressure, you can do some big things in your life. So I think that additional kind of peer pressure you put into yourself, you're in the right circles, right environments, those two guys that, put some kind of a peer pressure or direction into you, can really be a spark to change someone's life, where all of a sudden the identity goes from being a regular person to the next day, no one recognizes them. Everybody indirectly will impose their belief system into you. And it's never gonna stop. This whole thing about people say, oh my gosh, I can't wait to win to shut up all my haters. Reality check, it ain't never happening, okay? It ain't never happening, because every time you come up, it's just more of them, right? And they're always, the great thing about haters is I always talk about the fact that my best consultants are my haters. Best, because it almost makes no sense to be a hater. Let me explain to you why. Because haters highlight your weaknesses. And if you're smart, you're like, he makes a good point. I do have bad calves. I better start working on my calves. Thank you for that feedback. Now I kick your ass because you pointed out my weakness. What a great consultant. We don't need a consulting firm. We just need to hire new haters. Looking for haters, right? Come on, more haters. Please send me some more hate so I can see my flaws, my weaknesses. But the whole idea about that is, hey, one day I'm going to make so much money, I'm going to shut everybody up. That doesn't work. First of all, that's not going to take place. The more you move up, the most hated man in the world today is the President of the United States. And prior to him, the most hated man in the world was the President of the United States prior to him, which was Barack Obama. One's a Democrat, one's a Republican. It's irrelevant. That part's not going away. So the voice is never going to be less. So you have a choice. Either you can say, I don't want to deal with the voice, live a small life, no problem. It's okay, as long as you're happy with it, you're content, you're aligned with your values and principles, more power to you. But if you can't live a small life and you have to live a big life, you have to understand that it's going to be pushed. And you have to figure out a way to silence everybody.
You'll give up your life for this thing they can create from thin air as much as they want. You are still their slave. That's it. You used to be a slave and you'd work all day, and at the end you got food in the house. Now you work all day, you get money, and you spend all your money on a food and a house. Slavery is still here, my friends. Nothing's changed, right? Nothing's changed. And what they want is they want slaves. They want slaves who are going to comply and pay their taxes. And whatever kind of indoctrination or societal programming they can instill inside of people to keep them doing that, they're going to do.
Too often, this whole gift that we have, we're not putting that gift of imagination and visualization in place. And so either we waste it and we just go into la la land. Oh my gosh, what if I have a big house? What if my zip code is Beverly Hills? What if I have this big house? And what if I could put the big parties? What if I date these hot girls? What if I date the best looking guy? What if I have this? What if I have that? That's fine, but that's not deep enough. You got to go really deep with purpose, and really deep with, if you don't move, what could take place. So again, going back to it for me is for people to sit there and realize, if you really want to move yourself, ask the questions, go deeper on what life could happen, both good and bad. Don't just say, oh, all good or all bad. Tap into both of them, and hopefully that creates urgency for you to start taking the next necessary steps to grow your business. But the gift of imagination and visualization is rarely used properly.